Hi, everybody, and welcome to the third day of the Go to Space Hackathon. As you know, an entire week dedicated to the Earth observation technologies and how to use all that data in order to make real challenges here at the Earth. As we have seen during the past days, we have discovered use cases that maybe you know them, but in my case, some of them were completely new for me. We also have enjoyed some special keynotes and extremely amazing information about all the possibilities of this kind of technologies and all the exploration of this data and what we can do with them. And also, we have gone in depth with some of the platforms that you are going to use during this week. As you know, we have the 5 platforms that are used to exploit that data from the Earth observation technologies. And yesterday, we had one of these occasions. And today, we are going to have more about everything of what we have planned for you during this week. And first of all, we have another platform. We are going to discover all the details about Mundi Web Services. As you know, it's one of the platforms. In this case, is the one that is provided by ATOS. And our first speaker of this afternoon is going to be Vincent Saleh. He is the project manager at ATOS. He's the person in charge with Mundi Web Services. And he's going to explain a little bit how can we move from the prototyping to the industrial processing beyond the space. So, Vicent, thank you so much for being here today with us. And when you want, you can start.
Okay, thank you, Alberto, for this introduction. So I'll show you my screen. Okay, and so you see my screen here?
Yeah, everything fine.
Okay, so thank you for this introduction. So I will present the Mundi platform. So it is called Mundi Web Services, but I refer to it as Mundi. That's way easier, and we do that for a better understanding. So the platform is in operation like the others for 2.5 years now. And the objective of this last years was really to make the platform useful for the users and in order to help them to find the right data they are looking for. So we're also working a lot in this also digital twinners initiative, which was launched by ESA, which tried to use a platform like ours in order really to be able to digitalize what's happening on Earth and trying to simulate some event that will come. So interesting focus that show that we can do prototyping on the platform and also, as the title say, industrial processing. So we try to show all the range of possibility on the platform through this presentation. So to start, a quick presentation of Mundi. So Mundi was built in order to be able to face the challenge of exploring Earth observation data. So the idea here is really to help you to be able to combine satellite data with your own data, with other data you may have. The other thing we want to make possible is trying to be able to understand the data, select the data you need to use, download it, store it as you need, and also be able to use your skills, tools, and manpower in order to really find the added value from the data. And of course, what we do is loading every day and storing petabytes of data in order for this data to be available very quickly for the users we have, and also being able to process the data with high performance computing capabilities. So all this point, in order to answer all this point, the platform was built on 4 pillars. So one is the cloud. We have a partners in Germany called T-System, and he deployed a public cloud called Open Telecom Cloud, where you will find most feature you will find on other cloud. For example, cloud container engine in order to be managing your Docker very easily. You will find a lot of package solution like a database as a service that are also fine, and even artificial intelligence as a service, I would say, because we have a tool on the cloud that help you to develop your own artificial intelligence algorithm based on satellite data, but on other data if you want to. So this was the cloud part. So on the bottom left, you see the tools. So we are also offering tools to exploit, to access, to process the data that we are offering, and also combining. You will be also able to combine data to find what you're looking for into the data. Third pillar on the bottom right is the support. So my team and even on a larger scale, ATOS is there to support the users of the platform. So we have a dedicated help desk, which is accessible as soon as you create an account, a free account on Mundi. So the support is really here to help you to access the data, help you also to use some of our tools. I'm thinking, for example, our Jupyter notebook I will talk about later. So any support will be done by our help desk. It could be technical, and it can also be a business support. If you want to launch your service and want to promote your service, we have a marketplace where we are promoting a large range of services that are either built on Mundi or have a partnership with us. So this was about the support. And last point, and maybe most important, is the data. So we have a large data collection, and I'll talk about it on the next slide, which is there. So basically, the data we are hosting are all the Copernicus program. So it's all the set of data that you see on the left. So we do have all the sentinels. We also host or have access to most Copernicus services. So every day we are ingesting 7 terabytes of data. And this ingestion of data is very important for us because it has to go very quickly in order to make the data very quickly available for our users. So we work on this topic of ingestion since the beginning of the platform. And now we have the data, I would say 95% of the data are in Mundi in less than 15 minutes. So we're pretty happy to have reached this milestone. And we want even to have a shorter delay in the coming days in order really to offer a platform which is kind of synchronized with the satellite acquisition. We also have, apart from the Copernicus program, we also have other missions like the Landsat, so the American mission, accessible for free. We are partnership with very high resolution providers, which will be seen a bit more on our platform in the coming days. So you will be able to browse a catalog of very high resolution data. Most of them will be commercial data, but still possible to have a look at it and order some of the data if you need it for your project or your service. The same, we will do the same for SAR collection. So high resolution commercial SAR collection as well will be available. And after, we're also focusing on other kind of data. It's not satellite data, it's a bit different. We call it non-Earth observation data. Here I'm talking about Internet of Things data, so sensor data that can be seen, and they can be very helpful combined with satellite data in order to have a focus on some area and have a better resolution. We also have weather data available on the platform through API. And we have, I would say, a reference data, so a digital elevation model available on the platform with 2.5 meter of resolution, which is a good reference in order to build services on top of it. It is not mentioned there, but we also have some drone data that are made available from some partners. And we truly believe that this combination of data can help to create new services. So a new thing that will come in the coming days is the access to the offline data, because I say that we are ingesting every day 17 terabytes of data, but the full Copernicus program is representing a lot of petabytes of data. we have an archive of 40 petabytes of data. So all these 40 petabytes are not online. We have it on an archive. So in the coming weeks, you will have an APIs which will access the archive if you need offline data and retrieve this data online. So we do have this service already on the platform as a graphical interface. So soon we will have an interface, an API, which will help you to do that. So regarding data, we are in a way where we think that people should be able to access all kinds of data they need. So we try to develop services to help users to access this data. And we are trying also to make sure that these different points of access are interoperable. So meaning we're trying to use the same protocols, the same standards to offer all kinds of data in order for you just to change a few parameters to access different data. So this is it about the quick presentation of the platform. So now talking about prototyping of the platform, so what it means, what services you can access for free to prototype, that's part of this section. So main services that are offered by Mundi are, of course, this access to the satellite data. So you have different ways to access the data. We have, I would say, three main services to access the data. So one of it is the discovery service. So as it says, it's a service that will help you to discover what it is on the platform, what kind of data you will find, what data you will find on a specific city, what data are available for last month. So all this information are into our catalog, and this catalog is accessible through the discovery service. So this service is accessible through CSW or OpenSearch, two standards that are easy to use and will help you to see what is really available on the platform. So when you find what is available on the platform, most of the time you will need to download the data or at least access it. So for that, you will use a download service, which offer two ways. So S3 access, very efficient, performant, available on the platform, and also a REST API, maybe more generic, and that will fit other users' case. So you have it also available, this download service, for free. And in the middle, you have the view service, which is pretty, I will say, handy, because the view service will help you to extract only the part of the data you need, and also to specify a time range where you want the data. So you can say, I want this area on this time range, and this service will only send you the data you are looking for. So this view service is pretty convenient to do time series and analyze situation where there was an evolution through time, or maybe you want to focus on an event that happened in this area. So the view service is pretty handy, as I say, and will help you to save time because you are only downloading the data you want to download. So as I say, most of these services are available for free. You can try them for free. The view service comes with a cost if you are using it on a large usage, I would say. So thanks to these different services, you can start building services, and we are showing here some example of what you can do with these services. So for example, we have a page that is available on the marketplace of Mundi. It is called Mundi Explore. So it's a way to show what you can do with all the services just show. So this page is based on all the Mundi API. You can display images, so nice images. You can have a look at the statistic of the platform, so the number of products available, the size that represents the archive. You can even search for products through different parameters. And of course, what is of interest is that you can find all the source code of this website into the page. You can access it and reuse it for your own usage. So this is really a baseline in order for you to be able to use your the code as a start point. Another important service to do prototyping is the Jupyter Notebook. So I talked to it before. So here we really want people to get familiar with Mundi. We have two ways of using Jupyter Notebook. I would say an introduction with very simple usage notebook. I will talk about just on the next slide, and advanced usage notebook that are made to really explore with more accuracy what Mundi is offering. So to get started, we have two different notebook. One of it is pretty simple. It is just how can I search for data into Mundi. So all is explained in this notebook, and we try to make it very easy to use for beginners in the Earth observation world. So here in this example, you're just entering the name of a city, any city. So our program will find the location of it. It will extract what we call the B box. And after, you will just refer to which collection you want to access, what period of time. And as soon as you give all this information, we're going to be downloading the image, and we're going to just be displaying it into the notebook. So it is a pretty simple way of using Mundi as a starter, but we try to make it easy as an introduction in order to get familiar with what you can do with our service. So here, for example, is Paris last September, and you can just change the location and go anywhere else in the world in order to extract another data. And of course, when you have the data, here we're just displaying it, but you can use it, do some processing on top of it. So the idea is just to give you, as I said before, a starting point in order after to do more things on this image and maybe apply a specific processing on it. So this is Chicago being loaded. So as Paris, same demand. We just changed the location. It was Paris, we changed it to Chicago. So this notebook you're looking here is available on our website, and you can use it as you want in order really to discover, and you can even use the Python code which is behind to develop your own program. So we started with an optical image of Paris and Chicago, so meaning only 3 bands, red, green, blue. Here we're looking at an index called moisture index, which will show how moist is the soil of the area. And so here you have on-fly processing applied to the image, but the way you access it is the same, just one parameter change. And here you can see how the American cities are structured with a lot of squares and crossroads. So that was the example for what we call an easy search on Sentinel images. So next example is how you can generate a time series using Mundi. So again, we are into the Jupyter Notebook of Mundi. So as I say, this is accessible as soon as you create a free account on the platform. And we have a lot of examples that are using the different APIs. So this example here, you will retrieve a large number of images from an area. You will specify the time period you want to have a look at. So we provide some examples of, I would say, area where there was an evolution through the last 4 years. So you can select one of it and download it, but of course you can select the area you want. So I will go a bit quicker on this presentation. And so these videos are available on YouTube. I can let you know about the links of it in order for you maybe to do the processing on your own with your area, with the period you are looking for. So as I say, you specify an area, a time of interest. it will download all the images that fit your request, and after that you will be downloading all the images that. Sorry, I did not go to the next. Okay, here we go. So this was a time series on Istanbul Airport in Turkey. So the program downloaded about 24 images of this airport. And what you can see at the end is an animation in GIF where you see the evolution of this airport. So this airport was built lately in the last year, and at the end you can download your animation and have a look at it, and even be able to have each single image to do your own analysis of what happened. So here you see the animation showing how this area evolved in the last years. So starting in 2016. So 4 years of data that show how this airport was built and now how this airport is used. So these were example of prototyping on Mundi with Jupyter Notebook and other tool. So here now some example of what you can do with our platform in terms of industrial processing. So we have some partners that are working on project, on services that are bringing services to customers. So I'll show you some example of what they do on our platform. So just to start, I talked about the support before, but where we see us useful for the support is really to optimize your usage of the cloud. Really want to help people to use the technology that optimize this usage. So we have experts in Kubernetes, in Docker. We are using the OpenStack APIs, Ansible, Terraform. So this kind of technology a lot on our platform, and we're trying to share this knowledge in order to have efficient management of resources. And we really see the cloud as a step forward in order to be using less energy, less money as well, so less cost for you, but the same result at the end. So it's really in this way of thinking that's bringing out to our customer, and we help our customers and users to use the cloud efficiently. We are also promoting data coming from users. So if you developed algorithms that are creating new set of data that you think are interesting for users, we are able to share this data with the community and have interfaces that will help the usage of this data. So a few examples about what we've done with some of our partners. So we developed with a French partner called Meos, an application called Urban Green, which is reducing the urban heat islands in the cities. So we try to avoid having more than 50 degrees in some area in the city where you have no vegetalization at all. So we try to advise some cities to have more trees, more gardens, in order to reduce the temperature into the cities. So this tool is helping to detect this area where the temperature is very high and the vegetation index is too low. And we try to help them to have to make the right decision in order to lower the temperature into the city. So this topic for us is important because it's impacting most of the citizens and a large part of the world where the summers can be very hard for some of them. Other example of using satellite data, so it's in the agriculture, we're helping people to monitor farming with a platform. So we developed some analysis ready data products that are helping to see if a field is growing in a good pace, if it needs more water, if the vegetation index is evolving on the right way as well. So we're trying to develop process images that help to make some decision and to detect some change that are maybe not wanted. So we're trying to really help countries in Europe to do that. So we're working with Italy, Netherlands, Malta, lately with Germany. We hope to work with UK and France in order to be able to help them to have a better management of the crops on a country scale, most of the time, in order to optimize the yield and help the farmers to have better yield of the field. Another example where we've made a lot of processing is to help one of our partner called GAF, which is doing for a Copernicus service a land use classification. So they had to classify 6 million of square kilometers of lands to know what was into this land, if it was a city, if it was agriculture, if it was something else. So they created a maps of all Europe. So we help them by processing a lot of products to help them to produce this map of classification. They've done a lot of machine learning on the different area they had in charge in order to be able to deliver at the end a new Copernicus service for the land use classification. So important projects for them and also for us because we deployed a lot of processing power for them to reach their objective. Another project where we are also in charge is what's called the RACE, so Rapid Action Against Coronavirus using Earth observation. So we supported this initiative by storing data that are useful for this initiative. So I won't go through details, but you will find the link of the two websites. So it's race.esa.int, where you will find a different kind of data being shown on the map that shows the impact of the coronavirus on the activity around the world. So interesting point where Earth observation data are useful to see how the societies are working. So here were a few examples of what we do with Mundi, prototyping, industrial processing. So to end this presentation, I will give you some roadmap for the next months and years of Mundi. So what we are trying to develop today is having even more data coming. So it's not only data that we host, it can be just data we access, and we try to add value to this data by combining satellite data with this new data. And also our objective is to provide more reference data to our users to be able to build services with all the data they need. We will also make very high resolution data and drone data more easy to access in the coming months. We are working on different use cases, doing some combination of data. So I talk about IoT data, but UAV data, so drone data are also very important. Very high resolution, of course, sorry, and reference data. So all this combination of data are bringing more value for services to be built. Last 2 points is also helping users to upscale their processing. So we're happy to see people doing some prototyping with our platform, but at one point they will go to a larger scale. Maybe they would like to apply their processing to a whole country or maybe to a continent. So we want to be there for them in order to do the processing they want to do, but at a lower cost than if they were doing it themselves. So that's something we want to do by using the knowledge of ATOS as well in HPC as a service, and we'd like to bring this service into the cloud. And last point, it's also very important for the platform to focus on Green Deal application, so trying to be pushed by the European initiative of the Green Deal in order to develop services using the observation and being useful for most citizens, because we believe that everyone today wants to have a better knowledge on what the Earth is going through and trying to help to do things better in the future. So I hope you had a good overview of what the platform can offer. So the platform is open. It's available on mundiwebservices.com. You can, as I say, create an account, have a look at every services I talk about, and we stay available. Either you can contact me directly, or we have also a help desk available on contact@mundiwebservices.com, where you can ask your question. And today I'm happy to answer your question.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vincent. Really interesting presentation. Really ambitious roadmap that you have in front of you for Mundi in the next months. And also, as in the chat, everybody is talking about really impressive videos about what you can see with all this satellite information on all the images. And I hope with the high resolution, it's going to be even more amazing than nowadays. So thank you so much. And everybody can be in touch with him if you have any questions during this hackathon. As you know, Mundi is one of the platforms that you can use for the challenge that is going to be announced on Friday. And also on Friday, you are going to have a use case made with this technology. So Vincent, thank you so much for your time and for being here today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And our next speaker is maybe one of the most important, because the topic is one of the bases of this event. As you know, we are talking about technology. We are talking about use cases of data. But what about collaboration? A hackathon is based on collaboration, in this case, between a high-level company like Safir and you that are startups, entrepreneurships, or individuals. And also collaboration is not something that is only for an event. It's something that is key for all the European programs. And in this case, it's even farther Europe. As you know, the Earth observation technologies are used all around the world. And one of the key parts of the European programs like Copernicus or Galileo in this case is to share this information and to give that available to everybody wherever they are. And for talking a little bit about all these collaboration possibilities and opportunities, we have today Vanesa Ramos, that is the person responsible of the Information Center of Galileo based in Santiago de Chile. She works at KIM, and she's going to talk a little bit about all these collaboration possibilities in this field. Vanesa, are you ready with us?
Hello, yes, I'm here. I don't know if I can share, turn my camera.
Your camera you can turn at the bottom of the page, and yes. your files, I think I can put them already.
Okay. I'm going to share my presentation, but I can't turn on my camera. I don't know why.
At the bottom of the page, close to the mic, there is the button.
Yes.
Yep.
It's a problem. I don't know why. There is a problem, but I don't know why.
Well, we can hear you. We can hear you properly, so it would be better to see you. But
sorry for that. I don't know why, because I have checked before. I'm going to share my screen. So 1 second, please. Okay. So I think that you can see my
it's working.
Yes. Okay. So sorry for the camera, but I think that you can hear me properly. So that's good. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank GoToSpace Hub very much for inviting us to this hackathon session and giving us the opportunity to introduce the Galileo Information Centre Chile. As you probably know, Galileo and EGNOS, together with Copernicus, are the three, let's say, flagship space programs developed by the European Union. And one of the objectives of the European Union, speaking about the space, is to promote and push the use of these programs. And in our case, in the case of the Galileo Information Centre, to promote the Galileo system, specifically in Latin America, as I'm going to show you. Just a brief introduction. Our specific mission for this project is to help and support industry education, and official bodies, including the European Commission, in incorporating Galileo system into their operation and activities. We are trying to connect Europe with Latin America in these concepts and take advantage of some initiatives successfully carried out here in Europe in order to replicate them in Latin America. And some of these initiatives can or are being promoted by entrepreneurs, like entrepreneurs who will be attending this webinar, I'm sure. So, and of course, there are significant synergies between Galileo and Copernicus. So, I would like to explain just a bit, a short introduction about GNSS and Galileo before talking about the Galileo Information Centre. I know that probably some of you know these systems. When we speak about GNSS, it means a Global Navigation Satellite System. So a constellation of satellites providing signals from space that transmit positioning and timing data to GNSS receivers in order to determine locations. The most used and known system is the GPS, the famous GPS, but there are other, the Russian GLONASS, Beidou from China, and the most important for us, the European Galileo. So at this point, here the question is why to use Galileo? Why Galileo? Okay, Galileo could be the European GPS, let's say. It works quite similar to GPS or GLONASS. However, Galileo has some characteristics and important differences from these other systems that I would like to highlight. First, it has been developed by European Commission, as I have mentioned before. It's the owner. So it was developed by civilians and for civil uses, not for defense, as the other systems. So Galileo has a greater independence in this way. Regarding its operation, Galileo is independent from the other systems, so Galileo can work alone. It doesn't need the use of other systems, although it is compatible and interoperable with them, with GPS or with GLONASS, for example. Other important characteristic of Galileo is that it has a higher accuracy and reliability. The positioning accuracy is very low. It has a good robust positioning through authentication of browsing data. The resistance for interference are very higher than the other systems, and of course all the services are free. Now I'm going to play a video. I hope that it works properly. It's a video made by the GSA, it's the agency which manage and control the GNSS here in Europe. So I'm going to play it, and I hope that we can listen to it properly. Let me know, please. Can you hear?
Satellite positioning has become a vital part of our everyday lives and is a key for farming, science, precise timing, and emergency response. We use it in our phones, cars, planes, trains, ships, and thousands of other applications. Initially, it was powered by an American system, GPS, or Global Positioning System. A few years later, a Russian system, GLONASS, was introduced. In 2016, Galileo, the European Global Navigation System, launched its initial services. So what is Galileo, and what makes it different from other constellations? Galileo is a European state-of-the-art system that provides highly accurate, guaranteed global positioning and super precise timing. Once fully deployed, Galileo will consist of 24 operational satellites and 6 in-orbit spares, 23,000 kilometers above the Earth, supported by a range of terrestrial sensor stations and control centers around the world. Galileo is autonomous, but also interoperable with existing satellite navigation systems, and many devices combine 2 or 3 constellations to increase accuracy and reliability. While it can work with other systems, Galileo is unique. First of all, it's European and under civilian control. All other systems are operated by the military, so it provides Europe and European citizens with independence and sovereignty. Galileo also provides a range of new services, including search and rescue, PRS, a secure service for government applications, and a more precise positioning for commercial applications. By offering dual frequencies as standard, Galileo will in fact deliver new levels of real-time positioning accuracy and substantially improve availability of the service under the most extreme circumstances. By deploying Galileo, Europe also minimizes the risk of other navigation systems being switched off or degraded. Galileo is the result of unprecedented European cooperation and innovation to offer people across the globe a new, reliable, independent civilian navigation and timing system that will power limitless applications.
Okay. I'm happy that you can listen to it properly. So just to say that the video was made 2 years ago, so nowadays Galileo is completely in operation, just to say that. Okay, continues. I would like to mention EGNOS as well. EGNOS is the European Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service. It's a system that works as a complement to GNSS to improve performance. It improves the accuracy and the reliability of GNSS positioning information from Galileo or the GPS or other system, increasing its precision. So EGNOS provides integrity. Regarding the application, there are many sectors where both Galileo and EGNOS systems can be used. We can see on the slide sectors such as automotive, agriculture and farming, transport, energy, mining, telecommunication, and also health. In this regard, I would like to say that nowadays there are several projects to combat the effect of the pandemic using Galileo. Speaking about application for these sectors, there are several applications that we can see on the slide. IoT, in artificial intelligence, smart city, big data, etc. About the market and the compatible devices to develop and carry out these applications that I have mentioned before. Nowadays, more than 95% of the global market, the providers, can offer compatible devices or chip for Galileo. In fact, you can check this website that you can see on the slide, Use Galileo. And in this website, you can find the most updated database of Galileo compatible commercial devices in each of the domains and market segments. And if you want, you can check if your mobile, if your brand mobile is connecting to Galileo as well. So if you want, you can check it in this website. I'm going to play another video made by GSA as well, and about the application. So we go. I hope it works proper again.
Today, many devices use Galileo, including the Internet of Things, devices, rescue beacons, surveying equipment, as well as navigation systems on ships, cars, planes, and...
Oops, sorry. No.
Today, many devices use Galileo, including the Internet of Things, devices, rescue beacons, surveying equipment, as well as navigation systems on ships, cars, planes, and in trains. There are thousands of other applications like seismic monitoring systems, scientific equipment, and specialized applications that also rely on Galileo accuracy. Galileo's extremely precise clocks are also used to time many critical processes, such as banking transactions, to control power grids and manage information flows over internet connections.
Okay. Now, some examples about this application that we have seen before. There are many videos about applications, about example of application. I didn't want to play more videos, but you can use the QR codes in order to watch the video where GSA explains examples of how to use EGNOS or Galileo. For example, in agriculture, in order to make the use of fuel, pesticide, herbicide, and agricultural land more efficient, or how to use EGNOS for aviation to make better, to get a better precision in landing operation with adverse weather conditions. So for security, more security landing. In fact, in more than 600 airports are operating with EGNOS right now. EGNOS for drones to help them to achieve more robust and precise navigation, or EGNOS and Galileo for mapping in many applications for roads, gas and oil, etc. You can check the videos to get more additional information. Okay, so let's go to the center, and we are going to talk about the Galileo Information Centre. Our mission, the mission of the Galileo Information Centre is to encourage the adoption of Galileo and EGNOS and their potential markets in Latin America, and to promote the cooperation and collaboration between Latin America and Europe in projects based on these kind of technologies, in order to generate and promote new business opportunities around GNSS, catalyzing the digital economy in Latin America, maximizing the socioeconomic impact, and increasing the competitiveness and innovation in these regions. The Galileo Information Centre Chile obviously is located in Chile, in Santiago de Chile, but it offers its services in 4 other countries, in Argentina, Bolivia, Colombia, and Ecuador. So the center covered these 5 countries. And we give support to the satellite navigation industry, application developers, and end user as well. To do that, to conduct all this support and to manage the center, there is a consortium represented by 4 organizations. One organization is Knowledge Innovation Market, which is the coordinator of the consortium of the project, and is the organization to which I belong. Then the Clase Aeroespacial de Madrid, which includes many companies from this field, from space ecosystem, and 2 universities, Universidad Politécnica de Madrid and Universidad de Santiago de Chile. About what we do, about our activity, the activities of the center, we act in 5 lines, and I would like to highlight that all the services that we offer are free, so you don't have to pay for that. One of our activity is regarding the promotion of GNSS. We develop a communication strategy to do dissemination of GNSS program and applications. We organize information sessions in order to introduce and present our activity in the different countries, and we organize events to generate projects to put together different players in order to achieve or to generate business, no? to promote a project in this kind of focus on this kind of technologies. We participate in different conferences, in GNSS conferences, as we are doing today. And we have a website. I invited you to visit our website, where you can watch more information about what we are, about our services, about sessions and webinars that we have organized some months ago, and other interesting information. Other activity that we carry out is the identification of market and stakeholders in the countries that we cover in Latin America. We monitor the Latin American market and the local GNSS initiatives there in these countries, creating map point of key players. We identified potential industrial segment and applications, and definitely we try to know the market and how to do business in these countries, not only in Latin America, but also with Europe. We facilitate the development of GNSS-based applications, promoting ideas for new application, product and services based on this kind of technologies, promoting new business initiatives. We support marketing and execution of new GNSS application based on Galileo. And our mission is to try to put together different players from Latin America and from Europe also, in order to generate a project, as I have mentioned before, and to promote new business and new business model based on GNSS in these countries in Latin America. So we facilitate the cooperation and look for collaborators and partners for these potential projects. By other hand, we provide information of external financing lines in Europe or local lines. If we want to promote and generate projects based on GNSS, of course, it's important to have a professional in this kind of field. So for us, it's very important to support the cooperation between European and Latin America universities in order to provide logistical support for organized courses and seminars focused on GNSS technologies and applications. So because of that, it's very important the collaboration of our two universities that are in our consortium. We facilitate industrial collaboration between Europe and Latin America, organizing matchmaking meetings for the European and Latin American industry. And in this regard, I would like to mention that we are going to organize different webinars or virtual roundtable or business table during the next month in order to put together different players with different profiles, education, industrial, and governments for specific topics or application with this goal, with the goal to generate projects and try to do business in these countries that we cover in Latin America. I would like to say also that to promote the generation of this kind of project, we are going to organize our first hackathon in May. So I take this opportunity to speak about that. We are working on that, so please pay attention to our social channels and to our website, because we are going to give more information in some weeks about this hackathon, this virtual hackathon that we are organizing for May. And we promote contact between entities involved in R&D on GNSS in the different countries and try to connect with entities from Europe. We facilitate high-level meetings and support the European Commission in order to make governments aware of the potential of these technologies, specifically in these countries that we cover. And we have direct contact with the European delegation in these countries, and of course with the Chamber of Commerce. So at this point, you can think, or you can say, okay, I have a project, I have an idea. I know that you can help me to find partners, but what about the money? Not because at the end, this kind of initiative needs money. So how can I finance my project? Okay, pues in this regard, just a brief mention about sample of funding opportunities for this kind of project. I think that the most important opportunity is the Horizon Europe program, which is being launched in these days. I'm sure that you have heard about that. Thinking about the last program, the H2020, we think that there will be specific calls for space, specifically for GNSS. And we think that it will be a very good opportunity to promote projects based on GNSS and combining GNSS and Copernicus, because as I have mentioned, thinking about the last program, there were many calls where the objective of the Commission was to develop solution combining GNSS and Earth observation technologies. So I think that it is a very good opportunity to new business. Other instrument could be the innovation competition for satellite navigation. Let's say Galileo Master, My Galileo Drone, or My Galileo App. Some innovative innovation competition launched by the GSA, the agency which manage the GNSS technologies here in Europe. So I think that it could be a good opportunity for entrepreneurs. And there are other options, for example, thinking about the DG-RTD, the Research and Innovation DG of the Commission, which has different instruments for get money for project, for finance project. Other way could be the European Invest Bank, and of course the local and regional funding. If you want additional information about that, please visit the GSA website and of course our website as well. So that is it. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I can explain properly what we do through Galileo Information Centre. I think that is a good opportunity to collaborate and to develop solutions based on the combination of Galileo and Copernicus. And of course, if you have any question or you have any idea, any project to promote, please contact us and we will be happy to support you. So thank you very much.
Very much, Vanessa. Really interesting and really amazing to see that we have many opportunities to move in this direction, both with this financial services, but also with this hackathon that you are planning for May. That is going to be another chance to all our audience to make another project based on these satellite technologies. We have some questions of the audience. If you can please be here again some more minutes. We have some questions regarding some examples. They are asking if you have some examples about how all this technology, especially EGNOS, is used, for example, in agriculture or aquaculture. I don't know if you can just very quickly give us some examples about how all this technology is being used.
Yes, at the end, EGNOS increase the precision of other systems, let's say Galileo GPS. So the application that you can, where you can use GPS or you can use Galileo, for example, can be improved using EGNOS, because at the end, EGNOS is a complement that gives a better accuracy and better precision. So EGNOS is used in application where you need a higher precision for your operations.
Mm-hmm. And another question that we have is, they understand that EGNOS is available in Europe, obviously, but they are asking if you provide also support for EGNOS in Europe. I guess that the answer is yes, but do you have any instrument or any way to provide this support?
Yes, in fact, the GSA, the agency, the European Agency of GNSS, is responsible of these systems. So if someone has any specific question and want to know more about how these systems work, they can contact with them. Of course, we can provide the contact as well.
Perfect. I hope that all the questions are being answered. And if not, you have the contact of Vanesa and you can ask her any question that you can have during this week or even in the future. So thank you so much, Vanesa, for your time. Really interesting, all the work that you are doing through this Information Center of Galileo in Santiago de Chile. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And our next speaker is going to be about what you are waiting for during all this week. We are going to talk about the Douas platforms. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to see one of them, and today we are going to have the opportunity to go in depth with another one. Today is the turn of WEkEO. WEkEO, as you know, is one of the 5 platforms that we are going to discover and to analyze during this week. And for making all the presentation about how this platform and this service works, we have today with us Laia Romero. She is a physical oceanographer and expert on radar remote sensing, and she is representing Mercator Océan and is part of the WEkEO management team. Laia, thank you so much for being with us today. And when you want, you can start your explanation.
Thank you, Alberto. I would like to share my screen. Let me see if I can.
At the right side, you can see a sharing content button.
I see. Perfect. Thank you. So thank you for your introduction. I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if I cannot do it.
We cannot see.
Okay, no.
Now, perfect.
Can you see it? Okay. Excellent. So thank you, Alberto, for your introduction. As you said, I work at WEkEO, which is one of the DSs. I will explain with my colleague Amine from CS what WEkEO is about and what is different about WEkEO in comparison with the other DSs that you will hear about. They're all great, and I encourage you to use them, any of the DSs. So WEkEO, the Copernicus DIA service, is implemented by EUMETSAT, ECMWF, and Mercator Océan. This is the first difference from the other DSs, which are implemented by commercial entities in consortia or not. This one is implemented by these 3 agencies, and the way that is organized is by ITTs. So a few years ago, a bit more than 2 years ago, we started opening ITTs for the provision of the different subsystems and systems and the operations of these DIAs. And so there's a lot of industry involved, but at the operation and supervision level, there is EUMETSAT, ECMWF, and Mercator Océan. So the definition of WEkEO, as we were saying, it is a data and information access service. And this means that you have all of the Copernicus data available, and this covers Copernicus services that I will talk about, as well as Copernicus information. So Sentinel data, mainly, and others, also EUMETSAT data set. There's a lot of in the Copernicus ecosystem, different data sets. And then we have the virtual environment and tools that are made available as part of the DIAS offer as well. One very important pillar of WEkEO specifically is the user support. Amine, who will present afterwards, is part of this user support that is always available, that that organizes webinars, trainings, that answers technical questions, that is helping on scientific issues and also on more first level issues, as you will see, and that is very important. So the way that this works, more or less, and I will try to be practical, is that users that are willing to build an application on or using Copernicus data from different sources find that having a virtual environment that sometimes is pre-built with specific tools for your type of application, even in a thematic way, yeah? Marine or atmospheric or land application, you can register in WEkEO and use our cloud resources that can be Jupyter notebooks, but can also be, and are mostly, virtual machines with CPUs and GPUs available that connect to this Copernicus data catalog. And the way to connect is via our harmonized data access in the case of WEkEO. So you can find everything you need on the WEkEO offer in our wekeo.eu website that I will demo or I will show you afterwards. What it is important behind this offer, it is that it relies on a distributed infrastructure. So we don't use copies, we connect to the different data sources, and these data sources can be extended and are indeed extended. So we connect to more providers. We now have, well, we have Sentinel-1, 2, 3, and 5P. We have the Copernicus Land, the CLMS. We have the European Environmental Agency. We have the CDS, so the Climate Change Service and the Atmospheric Service. We have Copernicus Marine. All of these are data sources, and we are connected to them through a network. So the performance of the connection is optimal, and you don't need to make a copy. So even in places where unstable connections, this is a great environment to build your applications. These are the 6 important aspects of WEkEO, of the WEkEO offer. The data catalog, as I was saying, it is the original Copernicus and Sentinel datasets available hot off the press. So as soon as we have new acquisitions or datasets are released, you have access to them. The applications and communities, you will be asked when you join WEkEO whether you want to showcase your work and find like-minded users and clients, so you can now share your application with others if you're available to, or promote it so that others can see what you are doing and contact you if that is interesting for them. Also, the free trials. We offer free trials for all of the different modes of the service offer, and those can be extended. We have open free trials for COVID-related applications, but not only. You can ask for a free trial of a given size of a machine or pay-per-use, and try all of these offers for free at any time. Then the computational resources, which are these cloud resources that fit your needs. So it can be t-shirt sizes, which is a fixed price for a fixed size with specific conditions, or pay-per-use. And you can access all the data catalog through the harmonized data access from your computational resources. These unified APIs, what we are saying as the harmonized data access, is a unified way of accessing all these different data sets, and also the meeting with the experts, the support, which is technical and scientific, as I was saying. Actors and users. Mercator Océan International as the trusted entity for the Copernicus Marine Service, ECMWF as responsible for the C3S and the CAMS services, and EUMETSAT that you all know of and that operates the Sentinel-5B, the upcoming Sentinel-6, is also involved in Sentinel-3 and so on, and has a great number of data sets available. The WEkEO commercial partners, these are the ones that build or that are still building, and there are more and more commercial partners coming along, actually, as we go by. These are the ones that put together the pieces of the WEkEO system as it is today. Some of them are doing testing, some of them developed APIs, some of them are operating the system. Actually, Thales is the main operator of the system. Cloudferro is the infrastructure provider that is also present in another ideas, as you will see. This is a growing ecosystem of industry that is participating in WEkEO as providers. This platform is for all audiences. So we have users from institutional bodies. We have users from the private sector. We have users from academia and scientific research groups, and we have also civil society that are using the platform in different ways. The offer is divided in three, and the most interesting for 99% of the users, I guess, is the essential and the advanced offer. With the essential offer, which is the free offer, you just register and access the website. You have access to all of the Copernicus data in WEkEO, and you have access to unlimited user support, asking also technical and scientific questions. The advanced offer is devoted to those that are using virtual environments and tools. So if you require a virtual machine, mainly a virtual machine, because the Jupyter notebooks are open to the essential offer as well. And the federated offer is for those that want to join WEkEO as a new provider, and it's thought more of like large institutions or ground segments or big sources of new data, Copernicus data, or in the ecosystem of the Copernicus data that can join the network of WEkEO. An example of the advanced offer is Ocean Data Lab is a user, a French company, an SME, that has built an application that is making use of the free trial of the advanced plan for their Ocean Data Lab interface. And the data in the catalog that is available, as I said before, revolves around these ones: the Copernicus Marine Service, the Atmosphere and the Climate Change, the Sentinel-3, the Copernicus LAN, and the Sentinel-1, 2, 3, and 5P from the sources. So the data processing and the tools. There is a list of tools available that we can talk about it later during the demo. And there is different also configurations for the data processing environment, as we will show in the demo. The data access service and the catalog is fully documented, and the API is very simple and easy to use. And as we will show later, we connect to the Sentinel Hub as well for the Sentinel data. As you know, we offer the virtual machines, and we have specialized user environments. These also involve systematic pre-configured virtual machines that are built with specific tools and that users can access. The virtual machine options are twofold. Here you have a very quick overview of the different characteristics of the t-shirt sizes. So the fixed sizes. But then you can also go for the pay-per-use. We are currently updating our website with the pay-per-use pricing list. As you will see, the pricing is super competitive, and well, do not hesitate to contact us for more information. No? For the federated offer, one important aspect is that entities are able to share their data catalogs, to be labeled as WEkEO, and to also extend the user community to the entire user community. Just a few words on the WEkEO support. I will show you on the website where you can find all the documentation about the different services and APIs, the tutorials. We have a YouTube channel with very detailed tutorials and also tutorials by thematics with specific operations to transform OLCI data or to perform validation or calibration, or you will see very detailed videos that we will not be going through them today, but they can be very useful. And also the user support that is available at support@wekeo.eu, and that will answer you immediately. The way that it works for the user support is that we have a first level support that is then distributed among the second level experts for every subsystem or sub-theme, like the specific data or the cloud resources, or if it is about the website, so that all the experts participate in this user support. And then the training activities, stay tuned for the next online trainings and webinars, and you can have a look at the past events that are all available in the YouTube channel. So this is it for the first overview of WEkEO. Let me stop sharing. Okay. I will now do a quick demo of the website and the data discovery platform, and will then give the floor to Amine, who will present a bit more detail on the cloud resources. I'm going to share my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this is the WEkEO website, and right now I am not signed in. So this is what you will see when you get to the WEkEO website at first. You have, as I was saying here, documentation, the guide and the references, the pricing, and the registry that Amine will talk about. But I want to go now to the data. You go to data, you will see a graphical user interface with a few tools here to locate a point, to measure, to set an area of interest. You have here a vertical axis with the depth in this case, and a horizontal axis with the time span for the different products that you will visualize. If you open the menu and you click on the plus sign on the layers, well, first of all, these two are default layers that are showing, and they can change based on the use that you make of this data discovery platform. If you click on the plus sign, you will see the entire catalog of the WEkEO datasets that is updated. It's real time, updated in real time. you can use these facets. So see all the climate data sets, or if I want to see all the CMEMS data sets, but only on the Baltic Sea, or if you want to see the different Sentinel data, past or future data, the different tags, the originating center. So you can, for instance, click on the EUMETSAT and click on favorite. If you want to add the favorite tag, you will be asked to sign in WEkEO. You sign in and you go back to the place where you were. And I have now clicked a couple of data sets as favorites. And when I go to my favorites, I can always see them. This is kept for you, and it is quite useful. So let's have a look. Here's the catalog. We will come back to this. Let's have a look at the original graphical user interface. You can, the first symbol here is for the download. When you click on the download, we are connecting to the actual data provider and center. We are loading the layer metadata, and we will be able to, if the data provider center is online and working. If not, the graphical user interface will tell us, but the performance is great. There's usually no problems at that level. So the subsetter is to actually set an AOI, an area of interest, and of the time that you want to download something, and download this subset of the data. Instead of the global 10-day live area, I'm going to try with the seawater velocity because it has more subsetter options. The subsetter options are defined or predefined by the originating center, not from WEkEO. So if this is a data set that is produced, in this case, by CMEMS Marine, everything that you will see here is compliant with CMEMS Marine. And this works for all the different services. So I copy the AOI from the map, and I can also copy the timeline. That is, in this case, is 1 day, but I can change it. Okay. And then I can put the start depth and the end depth and agree. And show the API request. This is the request for a job that you can copy paste into your machine, into your code, into your MATLAB, your Python, your Jupyter Notebook, whatever you are using for your application to access this actual data. So you will see here that the area of interest is as defined, the start and the end is as defined, the variables as well, okay? And the name of the data set as well. This is always super useful to check on what you are doing. I want to see, I can see another layer of this data set by clicking on another variable of this data set. And I can also check, for instance, the vectorial information of this data set. Let me go in with a zoom. To see, and if I go on the vertical axis, for instance, I can see and very quickly visually the information that is contained in this data. Okay, and I can also change in date. Okay, let's look at another data set, the Sentinel-1. We can add it to the map. Here you will see EODC. This is a federated entity, for instance. This is an example of what we were saying before. So I will add these are urban to the map. And using again the AOI, I'm going to launch a job for the GRD in this case. You see that you have the different product types. I'm going to request the data in this case. This request was sent successfully. I want to monitor the request. I hope it's not too large. Maybe I made it a bit too large. I can see the API request, the same thing that we did before. And once this is done, you will see the different images available for this AOI and this time. And sometimes you will see, so in this case, Sentinel-1A and Sentinel-1B can be available. And you click on the one that you want, and then you download it directly from here. And you will have all the information in the jobs. And I think this is it. On my side, we can go back to the screen later, or you can try while we continue with the presentation, and then make questions, and we will answer you at the end. So, Amine, if you can take the floor.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So thank you, Laia. I will share my screen. Okay, so my name is Amine Amrani, and I am part of the WEkEO user support, as was presented by Laia. The WEkEO user support is a free service of WEkEO, where any question related to WEkEO can be asked at support@wekeo.eu, support@wekeo.eu. So we have a panel of experts that are available through an efficient internal tool that we have, and these questions can be IT, scientific subjects, or also incidents related to the use of WEkEO services. So I'm going to do a brief presentation of the IT infrastructure of WEkEO, which consists of two main services, the Jupyter environment on the one hand and the virtual machine on the other hand. But first of all, how to register to WEkEO. So to register, we need to click on the register button of the upper banner of WEkEO.eu, WEkEO.eu website, and enter all the required information. And then you can start using WEkEO right away after clicking the Create WEkEO account and accepting the WEkEO general terms and conditions. So the subscription plan, the normal one, is the essential, but you can also have the advanced plan, which is paying, but I will talk about it later. So let's start with the Jupyter notebook. So I will sign in to WEkEO because I already have an account. And then when you sign in, all you have to do to access the Jupyter Notebook is to click on Dashboard, then Jupyter Hub here. So what is Jupyter Notebook? What is the Jupyter Hub? It is an open access source web app that you can use to create, share documents that contain live code, equations, visualizations, and text. And this is the welcome page of the WEkEO Jupyter environment, so to speak. You can have access to a classic Python interpreter here, or to a terminal prompt. So the Jupyter environment is some kind of a small virtual machine environment, after all, but where you can create documents from scratch or play an existing file, which is massively done on the WEkEO webinars and trainings. So the Jupyter is a very useful teaching tool, as code is associated to text and images, and the typical Jupyter Notebook will be the WEkEO Harmonized Data Access API document that you can find on the folder public WEkEO HDA. This is available for everyone who creates a WEkEO account, and it is free of charge. So this typical Jupyter notebook, as you can see, it contains images. It contains also these code cells, which can be run exactly the same way as if you were on a Python interpreter. And you have also plain and augmented texts. So the outcomes and results of the code running are actually shown on the document itself. Graphs also, if you have a graph drawn by a Python library, it will be shown directly on your Jupyter Notebook document. And these documents can be exported afterwards to a PDF or to pure Python code. You can keep only the Python code, and there is an option for it to do it, and to use this Python code elsewhere. Mingling with these documents will make you comfortable with the Jupyter environment in a matter of hours. And you have many of these documents used on the webinars and trainings that you can find on the respective folders here. So let's talk about the virtual machine now, the second service, the IT service of WEkEO. So some of you would ask, why would we need a virtual machine? After all, isn't the Jupyter environment enough? But the thing is, Jupyter Notebook environment has limits. It's not meant for long and heavy processing. The storage capacity is limited. CPU and memory are also limited. So if you want to perform some heavy processing, consider switching to one of our virtual machines. How to request a virtual machine? So you have to go on Dashboard again and click the Upgrade Plan button at the end of the page. So here you can choose the configuration that corresponds to your need, as was shown by Laia before, on this plan size button here. So you have many t-shirt size, as we call it on WEkEO. And you have to tell us a little bit about the intended use of the platform, the Copernicus data that will be needed. And you have a small table at the end with the prices for each configuration, but we have more details on this pricing section here. So all of this was shown by Laia, but I will talk about it a little bit more. So for each plan, you have a combination of configurations. So you can choose whether one of the proposed plans, or if none of these plans suit your needs, you can ask for what we call a custom plan, where you can choose your own combination of CPU, memory, storage capacity, maybe more public IPs, maybe less GPU. It depends on your needs. And you can request your customized resources by sending us an email to support@wekeo.eu. And that's it. Let's talk about the trial periods also. So you can see that we have trial periods that are given for each plan. So you need to know that these are just indicators. They can be actually negotiated on a case-by-case basis with the support. So by sending a message to the support@wekeo.eu, we will put you in contact with the commercial department of WEkEO and decide on the extension of this trial period if it is justified, of course. So once this resource is made available for you, we advise you to follow the guides they can find here. So when you follow these guides, it's a bit heavy, but it's simple if you follow all the lines, and you will be able to create instances of your virtual machine by following this. Afterwards, you will mainly organize your resources via the Morpheus interface by clicking dashboard and virtual machines here. So if you have a virtual machine that was assigned, you will have access to this Morpheus interface, and that will allow you to manage your instances of the virtual machine. So once done, you will be able to download and process your data as if you were on your own personal computer, yet with tremendous computing capacity and high-speed access to WEkEO data, depending on the plan that you have chosen. So if you have any questions, I will refer you to webinar number 3, available on the WEkEO YouTube channel, where there is a demo on how to download WEkEO data on your Jupyter Hub or on your virtual machine using the Harmonized Data Access API that was presented by Laia. And I think that's all from me. I pass it over to Laia.
Thank you very much, Amine. It is now my pleasure to introduce Aytor Naranjo from Lobelia. Aytor, as the project manager of the AirQast project, European H2020 project that recently ended, is one of the success stories of WEkEO. He will present this project in which several applications using Copernicus information were developed, and how they are now using WEkEO for the processing of the operational services that they run commercially. So they are a WEkEO user, and we're very proud of it. So I don't know if Alberto, you want to make a further introduction, or we pass the ball to Aytor.
Aytor can start whenever he wants. You have introduced him better than even me. Well, the only thing I wanted to say is that he is an expert in this field. He has worked over those topics for more than 15 years. So we are more than excited to hear about all the story and this use case using this platform, using WEkEO. Aytor, whenever you want, you can start presenting. Aytor?
Hello, do you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay, perfect. And okay, that's fine. And you see my screen.
Yes, properly.
All right. Perfect. So thank you for inviting me here today. I will be presenting, as Laia said, one project, one H2020 project that became operational, actually a commercial platform for air quality products and services, and some of them are still using the WEkEO resources. So as I said, AirQast is a commercial platform providing operational air quality services using Earth observation data. So the project started in 2018. It finished last year. And it was a consortium made by different organizations. So on the one hand, research institutions at national level, so the Finnish and the Dutch Meteorological Agency, then a research center in Belgium, and then 3 SMEs, 2 Spanish and 1 Greek. And Iglesias was the leader of this consortium. So why we decided to apply for H 2020 project in the first place? Well, Iglesias at that time had already experience with 2 of the research institutions, so the Dutch and the Finnish meteorological agencies. We were involved in different research topics and projects, and we realized that products providing a higher spatial and temporal resolution was of interest, particularly at that time for the Asian market, for China and India. Also, that reliable information needed technical support, particularly because of the complexity of the service. Of the services, using chemical transport models, but also the assimilation of Earth observation data, as well as in situ data, and so on. Then, one point distributor, in the sense that a one-stop shop. That's what we wanted, because the different providers, they had their own services, but we wanted to to gather all these different services and showcase them in one commercial platform. And also at that time, it was an increased momentum from citizens requesting solutions related to to urban air quality, and then to tools that and visualizations that were actually reaching the general public, so all audiences, and not only very expert users in the air quality field. So, as a background, the platform has 4 main products and services, so 4 categories. I will not go through all of them today. I will just concentrate on a few, but they're basically emission inventories, regional forecast, street level products, so very high resolution air quality products at the urban or local scale, and then Atmo Plan, which is a scenario-based tool for urban planners, particularly on low emission zones. So emission inventories, so for the ones that they don't know what that is accounting of pollutants discharged into the atmosphere. So it's basically a data collection exercise that is made usually by public institutions or research institutions. So they gather pollution data from different sources and then from different sectors, no? So ground data from the energy sector, from the transport sector, the fleet data from different fleet segments, the diesel cars or the hybrids or the eco cars, then data from airports, from harbors, from residential emissions, and so on. And then they compile this information into an inventory that usually it takes a lot of time to be compiled and is for previous years. So, for instance, this is an example what you see on the screen from the regional Catalan government, and that's the last updated emission inventory, which is from 2011 to 2014. Now there is one new that will show that will be available, but it will cover only until 2018. So based on that, we decided to make emission inventories from satellite, because you can get a good resolution at 1 kilometer for the same pollutants based on satellite retrievals and inverse modeling, ground-based measurements, and so on. But it can provide a much higher temporal resolution. It's updated every month. Yeah, so this is a big advantage compared to traditional bottom-up emission inventories. So we started having these inventories in China, and then in the Iberian Peninsula, in Spain and Portugal. And why these up-to-date emission inventories are important, I will give you an example in Wuhan. So right before the COVID lockdown, so December 2019, you see on the left-hand side in the graph a comparison between in situ data in red, and then an ensemble median, or data obtained from models in black. These models are using emission inventory, which is like historical data on business as usual emissions. And then at that time they were following a similar trend, the model data and the in situ data. But then as soon as we got into COVID situation mid-January, you start seeing differences between the two. And then in the full lockdown in January, you see that is a complete discrepancy between the red line, which is the real data, and then the model data that was taken, as I said earlier, business as usual, but not the reality that was happening at that time, which is no industry, no emissions for industry, no transport, and so on. So that's why up-to-date emissions from based on real observations from satellite are really handy in this case. In terms of success stories, we were in contact with INA University. We got a contract with them because they wanted to assess the impact of pollution from external sources, so from other countries, into South Korea. And for that, the emission inventory from satellite from China was really useful. Also because it's difficult to get access to public data on emissions from the Chinese authorities. So then satellite data was really helpful, as well as forecast on these pollutants. Likewise in Catalonia, because they, as I mentioned earlier, they didn't have up-to-date emission inventory. They were interested in having these satellite-based inventories from us. And also our emissions cover the whole Catalan territory, whilst the traditional emission inventory, they only cover one area, which is the industrial area around Barcelona. And then this is a product I wanted to touch base, which is the one that is using the WEkEO resources. So there's different virtual machines that are where the services are running. And this is a service that is providing street level concentrations of NO2 and PM, and it was co-developed between the Royal Netherlands Meteorological Agency and Lobelia, which is a spin-off of Visarsat. So the service is available in Barcelona, Madrid, and Amsterdam, and we had at that time contracts with customers, and we have extended that to new customers with the city of Madrid, the greater metropolitan agency of Barcelona, as well as the Barcelona Public TV. So why we decided to do this service? Well, because the NO2 varies a lot, even on hourly basis, because it has a lot to do with the meteorology. You know, if it's raining or if it's not, or the impact of the wind, or the amount of traffic on the roads when there's no meteorological inputs. And for that reason, we wanted to make this available for different users. And here you see the differences between 3 cities in Spain over a couple of weeks. Also, this is a typical scheme of air quality stations at the city level. So this is for Barcelona. Maybe in Barcelona there's more stations than in other cities, but the air quality stations, they provide a point measurement. And what we wanted with this service is to fill the gaps between the stations with an algorithm that would assimilate the data from the different ground sensors, as well as hourly meteorological data, emission inventory data, traffic data, population density data, and then to combine this into air quality dispersion model in order to get this very high resolution data anywhere in the cities we're working. One of our first customers was the Barcelona Public TV. Initially, they wanted to have the operational service in their website as a web app in the weather section, and then they realized that it was actually very interesting to show and talk about air quality during the evening news, and also during the weather time. And here you can see on the left-hand side a QR on the image that was put by the TV, so for users to scan and get access to the web app and see the quality at their doorstep. So as you can imagine, this service, because it provides this very fine resolution and also it provides forecast, it uses a lot of computational power. And in this sense, we have been working from the beginning with WEkEO, and we had good results with very few downtime moments, almost none, since we started with the services over a year ago. Also, in 2019, we processed 1-year reanalysis of very high resolution data for Barcelona, and we put it free and open to everyone, and that was really well accepted by either private, public authorities and researchers. And this data set actually had a huge social impact, because one local organization that is advocating for better air quality in Barcelona took that data, very high resolution data, and then plotted schools and combined this air quality data with schools during school hours in order to obtain a ranking of the most polluted schools in the city. So they put all private and public schools, so over 700 schools were in the ranking, and over 200 were above the annual average NO2 levels set by the World Health Organization. So it had a lot of media impact as well. And then on the image on the right-hand side, that's actually from El País, a Spanish newspaper, talking about this organization and talking about the data that we are, processing at WEkEO and operating this data by Lobelia and the Dutch Meteorological Agency, and that's from this weekend. So it's still in the news. And just to finalize, so new applications that we have developed. So based on this high resolution data, we have developed an algorithm that takes these NO2 concentrations, then combine them with the elevation of the city and the classification of different roads in order to provide the concentration of pollutants on a given route, and then it compares that route with the fastest route, which will be a typical Google Maps route going from A to B. And then here you would see, so in green you would have the healthy route, that where you're saving a percentage of concentration of NO2 compared to the fastest route. The interesting thing about this is that these routes can change every day, and depending on the time of the day, depending on the air quality on that particular hour. Yeah, and that's a new application that we have developed, and that is actually operational and running on the AMB website, which is the Greater Barcelona metropolitan area. Yeah, that would be all about. I hope that that this information was useful. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch by email, or you can just ask in the chat or afterwards in the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aytor. Really interesting, everything you have presented, because it's one of the key topics that we have nowadays. Pollution is in the European agenda for many years, and now we are making a huge push to try to monitorize and try to improve our air quality based on analytics and on data. So it's really interesting to see how you are working on that. I want to ask you, and also Laia and Amine, how has you been working on that? I mean, in the technical point of view, in the integration, working on the platform, how was that work, this cooperation between you and the WEkEO platform itself? If you want, Aytor, you can start talking.
Yeah, sure. Well, on this street level service on air quality, we have been working with WEkEO from the beginning, because we are using virtual machines from them. We have been using the user support when needed, and the integration has been working quite smoothly.
Mm-hmm. Laia?
Yes, so in this case, KNMI was one of the first. No, I'm lying, not one of the first, probably on the second batch of users that came in WEkEO, because at the very beginning we had some champion users that were co-designing with us the solution. And then once the service became operational, that was November 2019, then KNMI joined. They joined spontaneously. They requested a virtual machine, and then we offered the support, and they've been running this operational service with Lobelia since then. I believe that they have actually tested different platforms, also Amazon and other platforms. And we try to offer always a competitive offer. So, and to learn from their feedback to make our offer better in this case. The performance has been good, the notifications and alerts when, like, the communication these last years has been very good in these regards, and yeah, so it's a success story, as I said before.
Perfect. Amine, anything to add? Mm-hmm. Amine? I think you are mute.
We cannot hear you. Amine is working on on the user support, on the day-to-day user support, answering many of the WEkEO users. Can you? We cannot hear you.
Maybe now.
No? Now, yes.
Perfect.
Well, I was just saying that Laia said it all, actually. I don't have anything special to add to this.
No, that's great, because you have explained perfectly all this use case, that this is useful to inspire all our attendants in order to make this challenge and all the projects that they are going to face during this week. So thank you so much, you three, and the best for your projects and your next steps, as you have mentioned and anticipated during this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our next and final speaker is something completely different of everything we have talked before. We have talked about technology itself. We have talked about the general strategy in the satellite technologies, but now we are going to talk about something that is especially important, and is how can we be sure about the certification? How can we be sure about the quality and how to pick up the right technology, the right product, or the right service? This is not something that many people take care about, and it's one of the many reasons why many projects fail. So today, for explaining a little bit about that and making our vision a little bit more broad, we have Maysoun Douas Maadi. She is the co-founder and the CEO of Excellenting. She is also a certified expert from the certified by the European Union. She is very used to evaluate projects, and I think her opinion is going to be extremely interesting for us today. Maysoun, are you with us?
Yes, here I am. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay. So I don't know if you have already received my presentation, or should I share my screen with you?
I think we have here, or not. Gemma, can you help us?
I can try to share it.
Yeah, please, if you can share your screen.
Okay.
At the right hand side.
I'm just trying to.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, in the meanwhile, I want to. In the meanwhile, you have the technical details. I want to remember all the audience that you can share your opinions and everything you want to comment or to say about this event through the social media with the hashtag #GoToSpaceHackathon. So anything you want to add in social media, we are more than pleased to hear about. Maysoun, sorry.
Yes. Just give me a while, because it seems that it doesn't capture my I don't know what are you saying. You can see my presentation?
No.
Not really. Okay. Let me try.
Try to share your full screen for avoid.
And now?
Now it's perfect.
Now it's working.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and apologize for these technical issues, but very happy to share with you my experience and also be part of this hackathon and make the space a little close to Earth and to our aim. So as Alberto said, I'm here to show you how to pick the right R&D technology being product of or service. My name is Maysoun Douas. I am an innovation expert and CEO of Excellenting. Also, I hold a PhD on physics, and right now I am a councilwoman at Madrid City Hall. So What is Excelenten? Excelenten is a service to help R&D projects coming from labs to join the market. So we make easy to everyone to make this journey as easy as possible, supporting them by the achieving the talent, but also to identify the technology, the right technology, and make this matchmaking. So we began with our first product or service was a matchmaking platform where we try to achieve this important goal, which is make the 80% of innovation reach market, because we speaking to many technology transfer offices and many the enterprises and the startups, we realized that more or less 80% of innovation never reach market. We are trying and trying and trying, but never find this right partner or the company to make our technology part of the economical system or bring some kind of benefit to society. So why we 80% of technologies never reach market? Because there are a lot of sites, a lot of database where we have, or the companies who are interested in picking R&D results and technology and products should be and should address to look or to scout for new technologies. So what we did in Excelenten is to make available for those companies interested in R&D results the partial solutions and results being in all of these databases and web pages. So we qualify them and make it possible to reach. We convey between the offer and the demand based on the technology readiness level. I think that you may be aware of, but I will come in the definition later on. What we are doing in Excelenten is to address all your needs, and by the way, the application is open and free for everyone. So if you are interested to share your technologies or find new technologies, please don't hesitate and subscribe and try the platform. And if you have any doubt about, please reach us. So you can public your offer on demand with different descriptions, and we are covering the 16 sectors from the environmental one to engineering to biotech to medtech. We are covering a wide panorama from the R&D results. And why we are doing this? Because we know that the technology at the end once complete another, so we can merge between them and create new things out of the existing one. So you can pick up your preferences and all of this, and based on this technology readiness level, what we do is to convey between technologies and make this chooses pretty easy to evaluate from everyone. We have our own baked algorithm that achieve your right TRL, and based on this level, we give you some interesting choices or recommendation to partner with or to explore in order to become close to the market and your goals. So you have also a search engine into the platform, so you can search for new technologies, not the one you are working on or you have already on the platform. So how to identify your product? The first question that comes to everyone is what I am delivering. What I'm did I am delivering a product which is a tangible deliverable with different competitive advantage that might lay in different components, or do I am providing a service which is non-tangible but it depends on the user client in the final tune. You can have the example on PCR with the COVID and all of this stuff, that at the end, even if you are using a product to check for the presence of the virus or the viral presence in the blood or in different fluids, but at the end of the day you are providing a service. You are infected, you are not infected, and you need to have this approach. If I am in the product or I am in the service, and each one of them has a different TRL, but I am focusing today in the product tangible one. So once you have clear that you have a product or a service, the next thing to think about is how improvements come to this new technology and this new sector. So you can, if you are focused on partner or bringing this technology to market, at the end of the day, you have to share the mindset of companies and experienced labs, reducing the cost or enhancing the experience. At the end of the day, you are improving the results of this R&D to be part of the economics, the social welfare, and all of this. So, as I mentioned before, knowing at what level you are or you wish to be in this new improvement on innovation to be introduced in the market, we use like the TRL level, which is a score that sets where we are in our development. So TRL was developed by NASA in the 70s to rate each one of the projects in the NASA portfolio, so they can have the idea on how close to market they are or how much they must invest or give more time and all the support for new projects to come. This is a slide that shows this journey, beginning for the TRL, the basic one, which is the 0, beginning from the idea, and then you scratch something or draft something, which is the TRL 1, 2. If you begin with some teeny prototypes to have like an idea of how it looks like, it will be this one. And sorry, I don't know if you see my screen. Okay, so you can like get step by step close to the market, which is the final goal for every innovation or R&D application. So in this case, like this is a bigger zoom on of this route or journey. So you can like have the different approaches, like the TRL 5, you are in the pre-format prototype, you have something, but is not really the final one because you need to prove and test some component or some viability of your product and all of this. So, okay. And lastly, when you are in the final stage, you are in the operational and competitive product in the steps or in the door of the market to be in every journey and in every home, or so to say. So, addressing what is your level gives you the next stage. How do I am partnering with different technologies? And as I said, if you are if you want to make the technology disruptive and very to have a very push in the market, probably we are looking for TRL under 5. If you want to complete something that already exists but needs some new value to be added, probably you are looking for a TRL between 5 and 7. If you want to update some or existing TRL, you should address or look for technologies above TRL 7. So once you know that, where do I find my technology? This technology, where is the best place to look for it and to understand how I can use it? So as I said, having this reference of TRL and the margins about it, if you are in TRL under 5 and you want a disruptive technology, maybe you need to address WIPO, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization, the sister in Europe, which is the EPO, or the Enterprise European Network, where more the companies in this data have an R&D purpose or interest. If you are in between the 5 and the 7, maybe given some choices to the Cordis database, you will find something very interesting, because are the database where all the funded, the previous funded projects regarding the different frames, Horizon Europe and all of this are. If you want to address more close to the market technologies, you maybe Crunchbase, CEDET if you are in Spain, or ENISA if you are in Spain, would be the best option for you. So now we know which is what we are delivering is a product of or a service, how to score the maturity of this technology, having the final objective of delivering to a potential market. So the next stage is, and we know where are those technologies and how to look for them. How do I use it? So once you have all these criteria in mind, the next stage is to identify how to acquire this technology, or what are the criteria for the next stage. So maturity state, we spoke about that. The technical issues, how I would convey between what I have, what I already have, and what is needed, and what the technology is based on, and how to mix between them or merge in the right way. Also to know the limits. Many times we speak about technologies and how to convey between them, and we are not aware of the limits, not only on the technical one, but also on the the lawyers and the laws and all of these legal frames, and also the human dependence. Do I am validating, or I'm taking into account the human know-how, or is human non-dependence? Is a product and I acquire, I use, and I test, or is a service detached from the human know-how, because there is a how to use perspective, and I can go around independent with no dependencies on human or talent, because most of cases coming to collaboration between different R&D projects, the know-how is inside one human, one person. And I am saying this, and may sound something critical, but having a know-how is very important, but knowing how to give this know-how to third parties is even more important. And coming to this collaboration, I think that it's important to address three steps. Like, you may want to have a relation based on customer supplier. So you are the customer, or you are the supplier for this technology, or you want to joint venture, which is to collaborate between both projects to give something new, or to test mutual development, or the final acquisition, like you want to have this technology in-house and develop it test on it, to try different options within your own company, projects, or team. So what is the critical point on all of this is how to set this term sheet between the different collaborators and know where are the contributions from each side to deliver new technologies and to be aware of what is coming in the next stage, so you can like bring impact, have something important in the market, have your results in terms of something new to be added, and take the most from all the collaboration inside. So this is my contribution to you today, and I wish it was interesting, and looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you so much for everything you have explained to us. It has been really interesting. I want to ask you, because as you know, on Friday and Saturday, we are going to have a hackathon using different, in fact, 5 different platforms. So do you have any clue or any guide or any advice that you can give to them, very quick or very simple, in order to, to focus a little bit more on how or which technology should they use to make this project?
I would say to be open-minded, because you never know if the problem you are addressing was addressed by different guys. So many times we are like sectorizing or having like silos around R&D, and in the fact is more open and more connected than we know. So try different keywords when you are using those platforms. If you are Googling for new technologies or so, not just address the keywords interesting for you, but also what is the problem you are solving. So something when you are describing the problem, you may find new technologies and that weren't in the keywords used as usual. So be open-minded and think about how this technology will impact in the society. So I think those are the most important things, and list like know your reference. List what are the databases or the resources you will be using to find those technologies, and have like a discussion where your team 2-3 minutes by technology. This is new, pretty useful for us or not, but have like the criteria to say yes or no to have in account some technologies to develop on or with.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I hope to everybody to be open-minded during these days, because they have a lot of work to do and a lot of choices to make. So thank you so much for your time and for all the explanations, Maysoun. And if any one of the attendees have any further question to her, just we are going to be in touch with all the speakers, so you can translate, you can send any questions or any need that you have to make these choices, or you need any advice. So thank you so much, Maysoun. Thank you so much, all the attendees today. We have finished half an hour earlier, so I think it's perfect to have a little bit of free time during this afternoon. And I hope to see you all around tomorrow, because tomorrow we are going to continue explaining these Earth observation technologies and the DIAS platforms, and how can we use them to solve real problems. As you know, tomorrow we have an entire day dedicated to Soblo. That is another of the 5 platforms that you can use during this hackathon. And we are more than pleased to welcome you again tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time, and see you all the rest of the days. Thank you.
Hola. Creo que ya solo estamos nosotros.
Hola.